In a bustling city filled with the hum of life, where the streets never seemed to sleep, there was a quiet alley tucked away among towering buildings. It was here, under the soft glow of a flickering streetlight, that a stray dog named Max was finding solace. His fur, once golden and vibrant, was now matted and dirty because of months of watering. His eyes, though weary, still sparkled with hope. Max had never known his own home. He had been abandoned as a puppy, left to fend for himself on the cold city streets. Despite everything, he had never lost his love for humans. Every day, he would watch people pass by, hoping for a kind word, a gentle hand to offer him a scrap of food, or even just a fleeting moment of affection. One chilly evening, as Max was curling up in his usual spot near the alley, he heard the soft sound of footsteps approaching. He lifted his head, his ears perking up in curiosity. A young woman, no older than 25, appeared before him. She was carrying a small bag of food, her eyes filled with kindness. "Hey there, little guy," she said softly, bending her knee to Max. "Are you hungry?" Max wagged his tail, his heart fluttering with hope. For the first time in that feeling, Max was not acknowledged of his existence. The woman, whose name was Emily, had always had a soft spot for animals. As a child, she had grown up surrounded by pets, dogs, cats, even rabbits and birds. Life had changed, and now she was living alone in the city, working a demanding job in a bustling office. Despite her busy schedule, she never lost her love for animals, and whenever she had time, she would volunteer at local shelters or spend time with the stray animals she encountered in the streets. That night, after offering Max some food she had brought, Emily sat down next to him. She didn't say much, just quietly shared the moment with the dog, offering him a companionship in silence. Max, feeling the warmth of her presence, inched closer to her, resting his head on her lap. "You're a sweet boy," Emily whispered, stroking Max's head gently. "You don't deserve to be out here alone." For a few moments, they sat in silence, the city's noise fading into the background as they shared a peaceful bond that neither had expected. Max had never experienced such kindness, and Emily had never felt such a pure connection with an animal before. The next morning, Emily woke up with a heavy heart. She couldn't stop thinking about Max. The look in his eyes, the way he rested his head on her lap, it felt as though he was silently begging for a chance, for a home. On her way to work, she decided to stop by the alley to find him. Her heart sank when she didn't see him in his usual spot. She called out softly, "Max? Are you here?" Hearing a faint rustling sound from behind a dumpster, Emily approached cautiously and found Max curled up, shivering in the morning chill. He looked up at her with those same hopeful eyes, his tail wagging weakly. "Come to me, and we will come home, Max," Emily said firmly. Ignoring the curious stares of passers-by, Emily wrapped Max in her coat and carried him to her car. She drove straight to a nearby veterinary clinic, where Max was examined thoroughly. The vet informed her that Max was malnourished and had a mild infection, but was otherwise healthy. Emily spent the rest of her day off buying supplies, dog food, a leash, a warm bed, and set up a cozy corner in her apartment for Max. When they arrived home, she gently put him in his new bed. Max sniffed around cautiously, his tail wagging faster with each discovery. "Welcome home, Max," Emily said softly, tears welling up in her eyes. Days turned into weeks, and Max made some significant changes under Emily's care. His fur regained its golden sheen, and his once weary eyes sparkled with joy. Max quickly became Emily's shadow, following her from room to room, always eager to please. Emily, too, found her life changing in ways she hadn't anticipated. Coming home to Max's enthusiastic greetings filled her apartment with warmth she hadn't felt for years. They spent their evenings walking through the park, where Max would run with unbridled excitement, his tail wagging furiously. One evening, as Emily was sitting on the couch, Max was curling up at her feet. She stroked his head gently and whispered, "You've changed my life, Max. I thought I was saving you, but you saved me too." Max lifted his head, his eyes meeting hers, as if he understood every word. One chilly winter evening, Emily and Max were taking their usual walk through the neighborhood. Snowflakes floated gently from the sky, blanketing the streets in white. Max, as always, trotted happily beside her, his tail wagging in rhythm with Emily's footsteps. As they were walking the street, a sudden commotion caught their attention. A child, no more than 6, was wandering too close to the icy road while a car, skidding uncontrollably on the slick surface, was heading straight for the child. Time seemed to slow. Emily shouted instinctively, "Watch out!" But it was Max who reacted first. Without hesitation, he ran toward the child, barking loudly. The boy turned just in time to see Max push him out of the car's path. The car screeched to a halt, but not before grazing Max. Emily ran to him, her heart pounding. The child, unharmed but shaken, was quickly scooped up by his frantic mother. Emily knelt beside Max, her hands trembling as she examined him. He had a deep gash on his side and was breathing heavily, but his eyes looked up at her with the same love he had shown since the day they met. "Are you okay, Max?" Emily whispered, tears streaming down her face. She called for help, and within minutes, a nearby veterinarian arrived to give Max a first aid before rushing him to the clinic. The hours at the clinic were agonizing. Emily sat in the waiting room, clutching Max's leash, praying silently. The veterinarian finally emerged with a tired but reassuring smile. "Max is a fighter," she said. "He'll pull through, but he'll need rest and care." Relief washed over Emily as she was allowed to see Max. He lay on a soft blanket, his side bandaged, but when he saw Emily, his tail wagged weakly. She knelt beside him, stroking his head. "You're my hero, Max," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You saved that little boy. You're so brave." In the days that followed, Max's story spread. Neighbors, touched by his bravery, rallied to support Emily. They donated supplies, offered help, and some even left thank you notes for Max. The little boy and his family visited regularly, bringing treats and gifts for the dog who had saved their son. Max, though still recovering, basked in the love and attention. For Emily, this experience reaffirmed the incredible bond she shared with Max. She realized he had not only saved a life, but also brought the community closer together. Years later, Emily and Max were inseparable. Max's bravery on that winter evening became a local legend, and his story inspired many to adopt and care for stray animals. Emily, too, dedicated her life to animal welfare, opening a small rescue center in Max's honor. Every night, as Max lay beside her, Emily would whisper, "You're more than my dog, Max. You're my family."